Hospital ports, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. And the next speaker was Alan Foster, and this is his leaflet. When I first saw this, I thought he was one of these Aetherius Society people. You know, do you remember the Aetherius Society had their stall again, didn't they?
Yeah, the Arthurians.
Which, I mean, I've spoken about this before, about how I don't think it's a good idea to turn religion into UFOs into a religion, into a kind of cargo cult. Which is how I describe
them.
Well,
because that I think if you did, that's how it'd be viewed as a cult.
Yeah.
You know, rather than like an actual religion. That'd be like, oh,
but it's very.
I don't like the way they're going.
It seems to me that I don't think it's. It's not my cup of tea at all. But I mean, they always have a stall at Expo, and it's fair enough, you know. But Alan Foster was different. I mean, he's very much into the spirituality aspect of UFOs, the spiritual element. But he said some things. He was talking about the state of the world. He very much believes, that our contact with ETs is a sign of a spiritual awakening. Yeah. He talked about lots of bad things are happening, like the disappearing bees and stuff like that.
I missed the start of his talk, but when I went down there, it sounded like he was actually talking about like religion, and he was talking about Saint Paul. I think he was talking about.
Yeah.
I know he talks about angels and stuff like that, but an angel to me, what I'd read in the Bible, would just be an ET, really.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not from this planet.
Well, a lot of these things, such as the Marian apparitions, like at Lourdes and Fatima, they're not what the church portrays them as. I think the church has hijacked and jumped on board and harnessed these various events.
Absolutely. We'll go back to 325 AD. That's when the kind of political and religious powers consolidated with each other, so they could have even more power.
Yeah, and we made the point. I didn't appreciate this, but you told me that the burning of the Library of Alexandria took place at roughly the same time as the Council of Nicaea.
Yep.
So that's very interesting. The two things went hand in hand. Now, because the two things, both the Library of Alexandria contained all the knowledge that now is only shielded by the Illuminati. I don't believe those books were destroyed. I think they're because they made several copies. Maybe the Illuminati still have copies.
Yeah, well, Crane seems to think. Well, I don't know how much he does think about it, but he's certainly said that he thinks that the books from Alexandria are in a vault in the Vatican somewhere.
Maybe they're deep down in the Vatican Library. So hopefully one day we'll get to read them again.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
But basically 95% of all knowledge was destroyed in that one act because.
Including Hypatia as well. She was the head librarian, wasn't she?
Well, she was jumped on by a gang of priests and brutally murdered.
She was flayed to death, wasn't
she? She was flayed alive, and
a horrible way to go.
They couldn't I
would like to be flayed alive.
They couldn't just do something painless. They had to make it as painful, which is actually textbook for the Illuminati. They love to do these things. That's why they develop the cruelest and most painful punishments they can. But Alan Foster left me feeling hopeful at the end. Now I thought he was very, very good. I mean, I missed the first part of his speech because I had to come out basically to do something else. I had some business to sort out, man. But then I went back in there, and it made some very, very interesting things. He talks about the Fatima and the fact that but firstly he doesn't go along with this stupid idea that Stephen Greer does, that ETs are all gods and they're all here to save us, and if you see a bad ET then that's just some secret agent in disguise. He doesn't go along with that stupid idea. He's honest, and he says ETs could have a large number of motives and a large number of attitudes.
It's the same with humans. We've got a large number of motives, a large number of attitudes. Some are good, some are bad, some are indifferent. So why wouldn't aliens be the same?
Yeah, I mean, he talks about, it's a good point, because I mean, in humans, it's just one species on one planet, and you see the variety of people you have.
Yeah,
good people, bad people.
We've certainly got at least 5 very different kind of types of people all over the world, and I don't think evolution's give it time to like evolve into these different kind of characters that we've evolved into. I mean, as far as like racial creeds go, that is like bone structures and like tones of skin and things like that. I don't think 100,000 years or however long it was enough.
Well, that's the idea that human evolution is it's directed by extraterrestrial forces. That's an interesting idea, but there's a lot. It's a big subject, but
yeah,
I think we'll have to go
Alan
on
Foster
another
was
time.
talking about the extinction of species as well,
Yeah.
which I found quite disturbing actually.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I've
Especially
read-
the bees.
Yeah, I've read a lot about these cases about birds just falling from the skies, and what point you made is like, you know, you see kind of, he made an example of 1,000 octopuses that were washed up on a beach, and now the immediate reaction would be, oh, the water's polluted, but why is it just octopuses? Why isn't
Yeah.
it like fish, crabs, jellyfish, seahorses? If the water was polluted, you'd expect to have a kind of a wide, diverse variety of
Yeah.
creatures washed up on the beach. Not
That's
just
what happens,
octopuses.
yeah.
Down in Kent, I think it was last year or the year before, you had thousands of this one variety of crab
Yeah.
just washed up on the beach.
This is happening across the world.
Yeah,
No.
all around the world. I mean, nowhere's really spared from it, and it depends. Like I say, birds fall out the sky, animals wash up on the beach. I didn't see too much about kind of, you know, like land mammals, if you like.
No.
It seemed to be mostly fish and birds.
But Alan himself had an experience where he lived in Dorset, where he said he saw, was it in a small area that was just about 30 feet square, he saw a particular bird fall from the sky. Blackbirds, yeah.
Yeah, it was blackbirds. Just in one garden, about
Yeah.
100 of them.
When this first broke out, I think it was about 2 years ago, and it began with a massive bird cull, or a massive bird death in Arkansas in the United States. Basically, birds were falling out the sky across a very specific, quite large, but very specific area. Millions of birds fell from the sky, just dead, and they seemed to suffer from blunt head trauma, like someone hit them on the head. And there was all kinds of theories going around that they crashed into a invisible UFO, like in the film Signs.
Yeah,
But it's probably that the head trauma might just come from the body falling to the ground. I mean, and then the people said it's HARP. They said it's GM. It's but then as you just said, it all came out that every single bird that was killed was a red-bellied starling.
Yeah,
They were all just one species. All the others were left fine. All the others were fine. It was just they were all red-bellied starlings that were killed. Now that again doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And all these other species, all these other die-offs are the same. They've been the same species only, one species only affected. As you rightly said, when there's pollution, you get massive numbers of deaths from all kinds of animals and plants.
Everything would be affected because, right? And I mean, look at the Gulf of Mexico, for instance. I mean, people, animals, fish, have all been poisoned. But
Yeah.
Why is it just these one variety of species that are falling from the sky and washing up on beaches? I know he mentioned, like, you know, some whales beaching themselves. I think I can explain that from the magnetic pole wandering,
Yeah.
because fish and birds and stuff, they use the magnetic field of the earth to navigate. So I mean, some of these whales were kind of beaching themselves where they probably thought there would have been water, but because the magnetic field wanders,
Yeah.
I think that might be an explanation. But
It also happens when the Navy are doing exercises and things, because sadly the ships fill the sea with massive amounts of sound waves, ultrasonic sound waves, which
Yeah. confuse
confuse and frighten the whales. But what this looks like to me is a phenomenon which is not so well known now, but it was the feature of many mystery programs a few years ago, and that is things falling from the sky. You get this very, very strange where you'd have a rainstorm and suddenly it's usually frogs or fish, but sometimes other things as well, other animals and other things.
fall from the sky.
I mean, you get this phrase, it's raining cats and dogs, and I think that originated when this idea became popularised.
Well,
And
I know Michael Tsarian, he will have a different opinion. He says that when it rains fish from the sky, it's when the waters of Tiamat came down and merged with the earth.
oh, this is not true. I mean, there's all kinds of theories. The sceptical theory is that these creatures are sucked up by tornadoes at sea or in rivers, and they're basically dumped. But strange thing is, like you only get one species.
Yeah, well,
And
why,
you get,
why only one species?
What about all the silt and the mud and the waterweed and everything else that got sucked up as well?
Yeah.
There's all that. Whereas, and also another strange thing is these things, when they fall, they're alive and well. They usually, I mean, in case of fish, they usually don't live very long.
No, not out of water.
No, but it's so it's still a big mystery. But again,
Well, you know what's the biggest mystery about it all? I haven't heard anything in the mainstream media about it apart from the report. It's 100 birds fell from the sky today. Where's the autopsy results?
Yes.
Or is it an ecropsy? What you do with animals? I know that popped up quite a lot this weekend.
What was it? David Caton called it, and Mark.
Ecropsy.
An ecropsy, yes.
Ecropsy, but like I say, we've had no kind of results back from a lab saying, look, these fish died of this cause, or these birds fell from the sky because of this.
It's just ignored, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's ignored. I think it's suppressed.
That's true.
Because there's certainly something very sinister going on for these events to happen. What Alan Foster also said was kind of the tribes, the Indian tribes and stuff. There was a tiger, and I forgot what animal. It was like a yak kind of thing, and the mother was killed or something, and this lioness stepped in and defended it from all the other lions, and the little baby knew what had happened, and it like cuddled into the lioness and stuff. And there was another case that was very similar where they were told that if you see these signs, it's the beginning of the end kind of thing. And in North America, they seen a white buffalo be born, and they took it as a sign of the times of the end.
That's interesting, yes. Oh, I think we have to leave Alan Foster there. Thanks for watching. We'll be back in a moment.